You want me to put that on my todger?
Harry's wife. Scobie. I'm not their mouthpiece. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. The improbably named plastic-faced Lieutenant Omid Scobie recently provided evidence. As reported by the Evening Standard, Harry and Harry's wife author Omid Scobie tells High Court phone hacking trial, I'm not couple's mouthpiece. As you know, the improbably named plastic-faced individual known as Omid Scobie is a lieutenant of Harry and Harry's wife. He receives diktats, either directly from Harry's wife or from her press team, giving him tidbits of information that they want leaked, giving him instruction as to how they would like to be portrayed. He, as somebody who used to work at that bastion of journalistic excellence, Heat magazine, has somehow squirreled himself into a position of writing a book with the now embarrassed and disgraced and, of course, hidden from view Carolyn Durant, alongside holding at least 3 positions in a journalistic capacity. I use that description applying to him in the most elastic of senses, for various publications, all linked, of course, to royal information. Without Harry's wife, he is nothing. An individual who seems to spend more money on his appearance than he does on anything else, which, of course, it's his money, he's free to do what he wants, although it invariably invites ridicule as a consequence of his bizarre appearance. But the fact is, were it not for Harry's wife, nobody would know about him. And instead, he feeds off her and gratefully undertakes the role of lieutenant. He doesn't see himself as a lieutenant. He doesn't see himself as exhibiting a slavish devotion to Harry's wife, but those of us that look at it in a more objective fashion can see that this is the case. She provides him with information, he goes and publicises it. It enables her to assert control and draw fuel. It enables him to make a living. It's a win-win. He gets the reward of being a good little lapdog by receiving this information and getting more. But as I've explained in parts past him, he could easily be thrown under the bus, something which Harry's wife would do without hesitation or demurrament. The article by the Evening Standard tells us a royal expert who authored a book on Prince Harry and Harry's wife insisted he is not the couple's mouthpiece, as he gave High Court evidence accusing Piers Morgan of knowing about phone hacking. Omid Scobie co-authored 2020's best-selling book, Lord Knows Why, it's absolute dross, on Harry and Harry's wife, titled Funding Freedom, Finding Dollars, Finding Freedom, detailing the early years of their romance and break from the royal family, as set out from Harry's wife's diary, which ostensibly the book is based upon. The book, inexplicably a worldwide hit, or rather it ought to be a worldwide shit, was written in collaboration with people close to the couple, while Harry's wife herself offered assistance to the authors, open brackets, on probably a daily basis, close brackets. However, Mr. Scobie, giving evidence in the court, insisted he does not have a vested interest in helping the prince and his wife in their legal battles against the media. Clearly a liar, then. I don't have his phone number. I've never socialised with him, he said of Harry, although he has been in and around him, as his own book commented. I'm literally a member of the press who has tried to do my job for years. Well, you have tried. I suppose we'll give you that. Mr. Scobie said by giving evidence, he is giving ammunition to those who want to portray him as the couple's friend, mouthpiece and cheerleader. Well, you are, but actually, Mr. Scobie, all you're doing is confirming what everybody thinks about you anyway, that you are a friend of the couple, that you are their mouthpiece and cheerleader. Because as I have identified, based upon the evidence, you are a lieutenant. What I'm doing here is I'm actually making my life more difficult, he added. Well, actually, let's just analyse that statement. What I'm doing here is I'm actually making my life more difficult. Well, if you are, you're an idiot. Why would you do something to make your life more difficult? You wouldn't. In actual fact, Mr. Scobie, you think you're doing the right thing, and whilst it might come with difficulties, you know that there are greater advantages to be obtained by helping out Harry and Harry's wife, because without them, you are nobody. Mr. Scobie said he and co-author, now in hiding, Carolyn Durant, talked to Jason Knorth, the royal couple's communications secretary, as they were writing the book. But they were unaware of the extent to which he had checked matters with Harry and Harry's wife. I would have had no knowledge of conversations between Jason and the people he worked for, he said. Well, I'm not sure I would necessarily believe any evidence that Mr. Scobie puts forward, seeing as in the Associated Newspapers limited trial, he clearly perjured himself. In his witness statement, Mr. Scobie said he did work experience as a journalism student at the Daily Mirror in 2002 when Morgan was the paper's editor. Prince Harry is suing Mirror Group newspapers, MGN, alongside soap stars Michael Lavelle and Nikki Sanderson and comedian Paul Whitehouse's ex-wife, Fiona Whiteman. The four claimants allege widespread unlawful news gathering at MGN titles, the Daily Mirror, Sunday Mirror and The People, over the course of 20 years. Mr. Scobie recalled an alleged incident during his work experience stint at the desks of the Mirror showbiz reporters who produced the 3am gossip column. The editor of the newspaper, Piers Morgan, came over to talk with someone, I don't recall who, about a story in the works on Kylie Minogue and her on-off at the time boyfriend James Gooding, said Mr. Scobie. Mr. Morgan was asking how confident they were in the reporting, and was told that the information had come from voicemails. I recall being surprised to hear this at the time, which is why it stuck in my mind. Mr. Scobie, 41, who is the executive editor at Yahoo News, editor-at-large at Harper's Bazaar and a royal contributor for ABC News and Good Morning America, said he was not totally shocked by the alleged incident with Morgan because he himself had been asked to hack phones at another MGN title. While at the Sunday People earlier in the year, I recall being given by a journalist a list of mobile numbers followed by a detailed verbal description of how to listen to voicemails, as if it were a routine news-gathering technique, he said. I was taken aback by what seemed completely immoral, and I never carried out the task. Quite entertaining, isn't it, for Eamon Scobie to start banding morals around? Mr. Scobie said he told Prince Harry's lawyers about his recollections and researched online a May 2002 showbiz story about Kylie with the headline, "Can't Get You Out of My Bed." He said he'd been shown a £170 invoice for extensive inquiries into Kay Minogue with a private investigative firm he says is known to have been involved in phone hacking. Mr. Scobie told the court a showbiz reporter also had Kylie's phone number in his Palm Pilot. Morgan said last week that he denies, first line of the twin lines of the narcissistic defence, any allegations of knowledge of phone hacking, calling it lazy journalism. Thus, Mr. Scobie is there giving evidence, causing potential problems for Piers Morgan and Mirror Group newspapers, but also failing, of course, to convince anybody that he isn't the mouthpiece of Harry and Harry's wife, because all of the evidence points to the fact that he actually is. He, of course, can't see this and will quite contentedly explain that he's not in order to try and preserve his position. He won't expect any help, of course, or he can't expect any help, of course, from Harry's wife. If he gets himself into deep doodah as a consequence of the evidence that he gives, she's not going to come to his rescue because she doesn't give a flying fig about him. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.